Alright, what's going on everybody? Hope everyone's having a good day, and today I wanted to give my first impressions of Call of Duty Infinite Warfare and a little bit of Modern Warfare Remastered. So I made a list of good and bad, and overall I will say that I am not very impressed at all with Infinite Warfare. COD 4 Remastered was pretty cool. I haven't played a terrible amount of it, but it does seem, it brings back memories, that is for sure. So like I said, I made a list of the good and the bad, and I've had some really good gameplays and some really bad gameplays, and I guess that's expected with a brand new game. I wanted to lay out my reasons for why the game is good and why the game is bad. Some of the good things about it is the overall feel of the multiplayer seems to be pretty solid. And what I mean by the overall feel is that just the movement alone seems to be pretty good in the multiplayer. I don't think that it's terribly jumping around. I've experimented a little bit with, do I try to run and gun where I'm boosting very minimally, to I'm literally jumping wall to wall, barely even touching the ground. I've tried to play both ways. It seems to be more beneficial to mainly stay on the ground, and once I get up into the air, you lose a little bit of your accuracy and you make yourself vulnerable when you're in the air. So, but I think the overall point is that it just has the general feel to the game seems pretty fluid. It seems pretty legitimate. It seems kind of like they put a little bit of time into it. Now, I know that a lot of people have bitched and complained that it's essentially a carbon copy of Black Ops 3, and I can understand that. It seems to be in some ways, but I think it's a little bit more than that. Overall, I think the feel of the multiplayer is pretty good. The second good thing about it, and I haven't had experience with it, this is simply based on what I've heard, but it was about the campaign. I've heard nothing but good things about the campaign and how it's very involved. I used to actually, back in the day, play a lot of campaign. I never played multiplayer because I didn't have high-speed internet like a lot of my friends did to start with. It took me a long time before I actually got high-speed internet. But anyway, I've always played the campaign. Since I've gotten internet, I've never really played the campaign with any of the Call of Duties. And after hearing a lot of good things about the campaign, I might have to go back and dedicate some time to actually going through and playing it, because I've heard nothing but good things about it. The next good thing about, I guess, the package deal with Infinite Warfare and Modern Warfare Remastered is that obviously playing Modern Warfare Remastered brings back a lot of memories for me, at least. It's a good recreation of Modern Warfare. You know, that was kind of the start for me. That's when I really started to understand multiplayer and like playing with other people around the world, and it's live and you're playing against real people. This isn't just a computer, and that was kind of, you know, the breakthrough for me, and that's really where I started to see myself like, hey, this is freaking awesome. I love this. So when you think back of the maps, of the guns, and of just the style of play and how it's changed over the last few years, it's pretty amazing to see. But I think the recreation and the vibrant colors and the hit detection and the sounds and all the old school stuff that you kind of took for granted at the time, but now it kind of brings it back to you. I just think that the Modern Warfare Remastered was definitely recreated very well. The last point that I'm going to make about it being a good game, and I mean overall in terms of Infinite Warfare, is that it's extremely fast. And you'll notice that my last point on the bad side is that it's extremely fast. So I'll talk about why I think this game is good being extremely fast. So like I said before, I've noticed that I've tried playing different ways, where I'm boots on the ground most of the time, and then there's other times where I'm wall running a lot. And I kind of find out that there are gunfights that I should be winning that I'm not, so I need to try to up my game, and I mean play faster, play more aggressive, and it seems to pay off at some point. But there's the negative side of that, and that's kind of where I start to transition into the bad, I guess the bad side of Infinite Warfare. But to summarize the good side of everything with Infinite Warfare is that the overall feel of multiplayer is very good. I heard good things about the campaign. Bringing back Modern Warfare Remastered in its recreation was really awesome. It brings back a lot of memories, like I said. And the fact that Infinite Warfare is extremely fast-paced, I think it'll lead to a lot more of an exciting competitive atmosphere, and I think it could also bridge the gap for people that are trying to get from, you know, your normal public players that want to play competitively. Hopefully if they can play fast and that's kind of how this game is going to flow, then you could see maybe a lot more teams on the competitive side getting involved. Now to the bad side of things of Infinite Warfare, and unfortunately I have more bad about the game than good, and that's as of right now. I know the game hasn't even been out for a week, but I wanted to just give my thoughts on, again, this is a first impression video, so I wanted to give my thoughts on it now as opposed to 3 weeks from now when changes are probably going to be made. So the first thing is it seems too futuristic, and of course it's Infinite Warfare. I know that it's supposed to be futuristic, but the color scheme, there's really only one map that I can think of, and pardon me for not knowing the name of that map, but everything else seems to be that very metal, like slate black-ish type feel. Like everything is kind of dull, and it's just, that's the type of futuristic. It's really hard to put into words. I'm trying to, but I can't really think of a good word, but it just seems way too futuristic for me. And that kind of leads into the guns, and I think the camos are really nice, but in terms of the overall feel, it just seems a little bit too futuristic for me. One other thing that I was worried about with the multiplayer was that there was going to be 1 or 2 guns that everybody fell for, or that everybody was going to use, and you saw that with a couple of previous Call of Duties where everybody kind of gravitates towards one gun because that's the most OP gun. And at first I would say yes, there were really, the Envy was the assault rifle that everybody used, and I can't remember the submachine gun that everybody used, but it was really just 2 guns that anybody used, and then of course there's the sniper rifles, but you don't see shotguns really used too much. I've only played against a couple people that have used LMGs, so really it's going to be a submachine gun and an AR base game as usual, but it seems like it's starting to transition out of that a little bit, but again, it's kind of hard to tell at this point. I'm still under the impression that there's only a few guns that you can use that are going to give you a slight advantage over somebody else using something different. So hopefully that will be changed, and they'll make that type of fix. And again, this is just my opinion. Some other people might say you're crazy. I think that there's, all the submachine guns can be used in different applications, and you may be right. But just based on my experience, it seems like there's only 1 or 2 guns that people use that are really OP. The next point I'm going to make is that the maps. I think that the maps are absolutely terrible. Now, during the beta, the maps that were available to us were really good. Other than that, I think all the other ones are terrible. And that leads me to my next point with the bad side of things, is the gunfights. It seems like, and this is my biggest bitch, and I complain about this every damn game. I could be going 61-18 or 12 or whatever I went in this video, or I could be going 10-22. It just seems like I could be in a gunfight with somebody and I can pull up and I'll either put 4 shots into the guy and then they kill me, or I'm shooting at somebody and it takes a couple bullets before they actually register, and then I die anyway. But some of the gunfights, it just seems like it's making shitty players good, and I really don't want it to be like that. I want it to be where you have to have legit skill and aim and all that good stuff to be a good player. However, I guess a good thing to relate to the gunfights is you can't really camp, because I've turned on people where they're sitting in a corner and I come rolling through there, they start shooting at me, and I quickly turn and kind of 4-shot them or 4-burst them and kill them, and I get the win. But it just seems like more often than not I'm losing gunfights when I know for sure, if I'm expecting somebody to come around a corner, I'm pre-aiming the corner and shit, I start pre-firing and I still die. That doesn't make sense to me, and that's what I'm hoping that they fix. And I mentioned that the maps were terrible. It seems that there's like some of the shitty maps, there are so many lanes and so many ways to get around people that it kind of eliminates, again, the skill. When the sniper that's sitting in the back of the map can simply like run on the outer side, I know he's there, and he can run on the outer side of the map and pull out a handgun and come behind me and shoot me 3 times and kill me. It takes away, and I know that there was a bitch with some of the pro players about wall running on the outside of the map, and even if there are 3 lanes, there aren't 3 true lanes. You can go under the map and over the map and wall run around somebody that they can't see you, and to me that takes away the skill, because if I see that person and I'm a better shot or I'm just a better player, I'm going to beat them every time. But now this gives the advantage to somebody that's not as good. They can now get a height advantage on me or get around me without me seeing them and then kill me. So I just think it aids a little bit more to the shitty players in the game as opposed to the good players in the game. On top of that, we talk about health regeneration. I think that this is something that needs to be fixed, that no sooner do I take 3 shots, I might survive, but it's literally 1 bullet from the next guy and I'm done. I think that that's something that needs to be kind of laid out and fixed a little bit more. That goes with gunfights, and when you mix the gunfights with the shitty maps and with health regeneration, you almost have to be flawless every game to do very well. And I'm usually in a game where there's 1 or 2 people that are doing really good, but then the other team is complete shit. That nobody's over a 1 KD. It's like, 7 and 20 or 10 and 15. Like, that's the best that I've seen. It's not really level that way. It's either one team is really good or one team is really bad. And then the last point that I want to make about the bad side of Infinite Warfare is that I mentioned on the good side was extremely fast, but that can also be bad as well. And in this gameplay, you'll kind of see that I'm running around and I'm playing almost ahead of myself. And what that is allowing me to do, number one, is that I engage enemies a lot faster, which is good, yes, but I'm also losing my ability to be accurate, and I'm losing my positioning. And that's kind of something I prided myself on with Black Ops 3 and kind of the games before this, was that I tried to maintain good positioning, and I've always tried to put myself in a situation where if they are going to come around that corner, whether they jump over me or slide, try to slide past me or whatever, that I'm in a position to make a kill or to at least set myself up for a good kill. But whenever you're playing this fast, you kind of lose track of where you are, and you make yourself a little bit more vulnerable. And on top of that, you're just moving so fast. I stop looking at the mini map, and I'm so focused on one enemy as opposed to a group of enemies, and you lose track of the objective. And I think that's just part of being good. If you lose all of that because it's too fast, then you're just not a good player. So that's something that I need to work on myself. But I just think that there's, it being extremely fast is a good thing, but it can also be a bad thing. So anyway, long-winded first impression. I just wanted to get my thoughts off to everybody. I hope you guys enjoy this video. If you do, like, subscribe, comment. Make sure you leave some feedback in the comments. I do look at those and I do respond. So again, if you guys like this video, like, subscribe, comment, do all that cool shit, and I'll see you guys in the next video.